Part 2. On Attention. Characteristics of Attention and Observation. Question. Can you define characteristics of attention and observation as of importance in Sufic studies? Answer. Study the attracting, extending, and reception, as well as the interchange of attention. One of the keys to human behavior is the attention factor. Anyone can verify that many instances, generally supposed to be important or useful human transactions on any subject, social, commercial, and so on, are in fact disguised attention situations. It is contended that if a person does not know what he is doing, in this case that he is basically demanding, extending, or exchanging attention, and as a consequence thinks that he is doing something else, contributing to human knowledge, learning, buying, selling, informing, and so on, he will A. be more inefficient at both the overt and the covert activity, B. have less capacity of planning his behavior and will make mistakes of emotion and intellect because he considers attention to be other than it is. If this is true, it is most important that individuals realize 1. That this attention factor is operating in virtually all transactions, 2. That the apparent motivation of transactions may be other than it really is, and that it is often generated by the need or desire for attention activity, giving, receiving, exchanging. And 3. That attention activity, like any other demand for food, warmth, and so on, when placed under volitional control, must result in increased scope for the human being who would then not be at the mercy of random sources of attention, or even more confused than usual if things do not pan out as they expect. Certain principles may be enunciated. They include 1. Too much attention can be bad, inefficient. 2. Too little attention can be bad. 3. Attention may be hostile or friendly and still fulfill the appetite for attention. This is confused by the moral aspect. 4. When people need a great deal of attention, they are vulnerable to the message which too often accompanies the exercise of attention towards them. For example, someone wanting attention might be able to get it only from some person or organization, which might thereafter exercise, as its price, an undue influence upon the attention-starved individual's mind. 5. Present beliefs have often been inculcated at a time and under circumstances connected with attention demand, and not arrived at by the method attributed to them. 6. Many paradoxical reversals of opinion or of associates and commitments may be seen as due to the change in a source of attention. 7. People are almost always stimulated by an offer of attention, since most people are frequently attention-deprived. This is one reason why new friends or circumstances, for instance, may be preferred to old ones. 8. If people could learn to assuage attention hunger, they would be in a better position than most present cultures allow them to attend to other things. They could extend the effectiveness of their learning capacity. 9. Among the things which unstarved people, in the sense of attention, could investigate is the comparative attraction of ideas, individuals, and so on, apart from their purely attention-supplying function. 10. The desire for attention starts at an early stage of infancy. It is, of course, at that point linked with feeding and protection. This is not to say that this desire has no further nor future development value, but it can be adapted beyond its ordinary adult usage of mere satisfaction. 11. Even a cursory survey of human communities shows that, while the random eating tendency, possessiveness, and other undifferentiated characteristics are very early trained or diverted, weaned, the attention factor does not get the same treatment. The consequence is that the adult human being, deprived of any method of handling his desire for attention, continues to be confused by it, as it usually remains primitive throughout life. 12. Very numerous individual observations of human transactions have been made. They show that an interchange between two people always has an attention factor. 13. Observation shows that people's desires for attention ebb and flow. When in an ebb or flow of attention desire, the human being, not realizing that this is his condition, attributes his actions and feelings to other factors, for example, the hostility or pleasantness of others. He may even say that it is a lucky day when his attention needs have been quickly and adequately met. Re-examination of such situations has shown that such experiences are best accounted for by the attention theory. 14. Objections based upon the supposed pleasure of attention being strongest when it is randomly achieved do not stand up when carefully examined. I prefer to be surprised by attention can be paraphrased by saying, I prefer not to know where my next meal is coming from. It simply underlines a primitive stage of feeling and thinking on this subject. 15. Situations which seem different when viewed from an oversimplified perspective, which is the usual one, are seen to be the same by the application of attention theory. For example, people following an authority figure may be exercising the desire for attention or the desire to give it. The interchange between people and their authority figure may be explained by mutual attention behavior. Some gain only attention from this interchange. Some can gain more. 16. Another confusion is caused by the fact that the object of attention may be a person, a cult, an object, an idea, interest, and so on. Because the foci of attention can be so diverse, people in general have not yet identified the common factor, the desire for attention. 17. One of the advantages of this theory is that it allows the human mind to link in a coherent and easily understood way many things which it has always wrongly been taught are very different, not susceptible to comparison, and so on. This incorrect training has, of course, impaired the possible efficiency in functioning of the brain, though only culturally, not permanently. 18. The ability to feel when attention is extended, and also to encourage or to prevent its being called forth, makes man almost uniquely vulnerable to being influenced, especially in having ideas implanted in his brain and being indoctrinated. 19. Raising the emotional pitch is the most primitive method of increasing attention towards the instrument which increased the emotion. It is the prelude to, or accompaniment of, almost every form of indoctrination. 20. Traditional philosophical and other teachings have been used to prescribe exercises in the control and focusing of attention. Their value, however, has been to a great measure lost because the individual exercises prescribed for people in need of exercise have been written down and repeated as unique truths and practiced in a manner, with people and at a rate and under circumstances which, by their very randomness, have not been able to effect any change in the attention training. This treatment has, however, produced obsession. It continues to do so. 21. Here and there proverbs and other pieces of literary material indicate that there has been at one time a widespread knowledge of attention on the lines now being described. Deprived, however, of context, these indications survive as fossil indicators rather than being a useful guide to attention exercise for contemporary man. Attention upon oneself or upon a teacher, without the exercise of securing what is being offered from beyond the immediate surroundings, is a sort of short circuit. As Rumi said, "Do not look at me, but take what is in my hand." Part 3. Sufi Study Themes. Question. If you were to give a number of study themes to the people present, which ones would you stress? Answer. 1. All approaches to a study or an individual may start with a desire for attention. However they start, they must never end up in this manner. 2. Study the assumptions behind your actions. Then study the assumptions behind your assumptions. 3. Why did I do such and such a thing is all very well, but what about how otherwise could I have done it? 4. You have come a long way and you do not know it. You have a long way to go and you do not know what that means. 5. In respect to some, you may have advanced. In relation to others, you have not progressed at all. Neither observation is more important than the other. 6. If your desire for good is based on greed, it is not good, but greed. 7. Exercise power by means of kindness, and you may be causing more damage than you could by cruelty. Neither approach is correct. 8. The man who knows must discharge a function. The one who does not cannot arrogate one to himself. He can only try to do so. 9. Do not try to be humble. Learn humility. 10. Assume that you are part hypocrite and part heedless, and you will not be far wrong. 11. To copy a virtue in another is more copying than it is virtue. Try to learn what that virtue is based upon. 12. No practice exists in isolation. 13. If you seek a teacher, try to become a real student. If you want to be a student, try to find a real teacher. 14. The more often you do a thing, the more likely you are to do it again. There is no certainty that you will gain anything else from repetition than a likelihood of further repetition. 15. At first, you are not worthy of the robes and implements of the Sufi. Later, you do not need them. Finally, you may need them for the sake of others. 16. If you cannot laugh frequently and genuinely, you have no soul. 17. When a belief becomes more than an instrument, you are lost. You remain lost until you learn what belief is really for. 18. When a dervish shows interest in your material welfare, you may be pleased, but it is frequently because you are not yet ready for anything else. 19. When someone asks for you to help in doing something, do you imagine that it is because he cannot do it unaided? Perhaps he is a Sufi who wants to help you by connecting you with his task. 20. If you are lazy, count yourself lucky if someone points this out, giving you a chance to improve. Laziness is always your fault. It is the sign that a man has persevered in uselessness for too long. These points are in fact exercises in outwitting the false self, which thrives on smaller satisfactions. The Sufi aims at fana, passing away of the false self, and baka, remaining of the real. Behind the supposed I, which is impermanent, lies the real one, which is characterized by the awareness of truth, of reality. And listen to the words of Junaid of Baghdad when he said, "A good-natured sensualist is better than a bad-tempered, so-called Sufi."